out again, and I'm going to try my best to all of the geniuses in the Republican Party who are trying their best to cobble together an idea, some theme, some message, some thematic idea that they can perpetuate and they can respond. I want them to understand, to grasp this notion. It's a very simple thing. Scamala Harris is not too liberal, too leftist, too un-American. No. She's a blithering idiot, the oracle of incoherence, the sorceress of senselessness. Scamala Harris is a Boeotian, a dimwit, a dullard, a cretin, a fool, an absolute dolt. You're wasting your time. You're saying, well, she's too left. That doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? How are you supposed to get somebody who is undecided, who may in fact consider themselves left? Why are you saying they're left? Why? It may benefit them. They might say, I like left. Thank you. Well, as long as she's a leftist, maybe she has an ideology that I like. No. You're given this chance by Almighty God. You have an idiot running. Let me say this again. I don't think you heard me. I don't think maybe. She's an idiot. An idiot. This is like nobody else. What are you talking about? We're going to go through this stuff. There's some really good stuff out here. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. I want you to be aware of it. But first, let me just thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are subscribed. And I want to bring something up to your attention. This happened. This is old memory lane here. One of my favorite television shows of all time was Barney Miller. Barney Miller was, first of all, one of the greatest theme songs. The ensemble was terrific. There was nothing like him. Second of all was Taxi. Again, written Fernwood Tonight, Soap. I mean, there were some shows that were but Barney Miller had really nothing to do with police work. And every now and then they would have this statement. They would make this tangential story. And in 1981, what was I doing in 81? I think in 81 I guess I was in law school. Yeah. I was in law school. And I wasn't that politically interested, really, a little bit more than I was because I worked for a senator, but I wasn't. And if I had heard this then, in fact, I remember hearing this, I didn't know what this meant. Listen to it now. And listen to how prescient it was.
I wanted to meet them face to face. I wanted them to admit what they were doing.
Who is they?
He was in the office of the Trilateral Commission.
Trilateral Commission?
Yeah, the Trilateral Commission.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission?
It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
And that's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
Let me stop right there. If this was intended to be a joke, if this was intended to be, and I don't think it was, This is too spot on. This was 43 years ago. Too spot on. This was written by somebody who knew, who would couch it. This is the old expression. This is the old one from SCTV. Sure, he's crazy, but what if he's right? He's talking about something that is in no way, in no wise, that strange, if you think about it. Listen again. This is very, very important. This is so critical. Listen one more time. I love
And nations.
That's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
I take it they're pressing charges?
Yeah, well, he broke a globe and some UNICEF artwork.
Well, they're in on it too.
Okay, Mr. Klein, if you
I'm
just...
telling you, our whole way of life as we know it is in jeopardy.
I appreciate that information.
But I have the documented evidence. It's all in there. Show him.
Well, he's got these magazines here.
Conspiracy Review?
Nobody will do that.
Suppressed Truth Roundup?
The whole master plan is exposed.
Yeah, well,
You're still not convinced, huh? Would you like to hear the names of just a few of the people who have been on the Trilateral Commission?
not particularly.
Listen carefully.
James Earl Carter. Heard of him?
Look, Mr. Klein...
Henry Kissinger. You heard of him? Walter Mondale.
Who? Mr. Klein, this is
John Anderson, George Bush. Now, you remember at the convention, everybody thought it was going to be Ford for Veep. You know what happened? David Rockefeller just picked up a phone, put in a call. Hey, Ronnie, forget Jerry, it's George. Bye. So, no matter who won in November, they had their man in the White House.
Are you through?
This blew my mind. And it blew Lori Cook's mind, too, by the way. This was 43 years ago. By the way, Ruben Dubich, thank you, I believe. Dark Waters gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Dark. So kind of you. Doesn't that just... And it was made, obviously, couched in a particular way to make the actor, you know who he is, by the way, who fell into some hard times with his on offset antics, but it was written to make him sound crazy, but not really. The Brad says, what made you get involved in politics? Love you. How can you not? This is one of those things, my friend, and thank you, by the way. This is one of those things that we will always have to say, do you know anything about this? Yes, I'm not going to waste my time. You will sound crazy when you tell people what you know when they don't know anything. And I mentioned this today. How do you know what you know? What do you know? It's fantastic. There was I told you there was a piece I was watching by 2 ladies, Katie Halper and Brianna Joy Gray. And they were talking about Israel and their perceptions, their thoughts, their concerns and the like. And what was the most fascinating was they made the statement that when they spoke to other people about Israel, people who had never really followed it, they look at you like you're out of your mind because they don't know anything. So consequently, when they were talking about things like the Hannibal Directive, this person they were talking to looked at them like, what are you talking about? What in the name of God are you talking about? And why don't I know this? Isn't that something? Why don't I know this? You see, that's the beautiful part about this. People have this idea that they are possessed of all facts because they believe they know everything. They believe they know everything. It's true. And they also believe that if they don't know it, or if they haven't heard of it, it's not true. It's not happening. And I have learned this a long time ago, and you should also commit this to memory yourself, my friends. You see, years ago, and I learned this regarding a certain incident that happened on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago. And I realized that when I tell people what I know, they look at me like I'm out of my mind because they don't know anything. So when you tell them things that make them say, wait a minute, Mr. Petchow, thank you, sir. Very, very kind. Very, very kind. And again, very, very kind. Thank you. When you tell somebody something they don't know, they go crazy. Now, just think about this one. Let that one kind of marinate, as it were. And I want you to also hear something which is very interesting. Whenever I hear, this is the next point, by the way. We had somebody today say, you're all over the place. You change your, 1 minute you're talking about this, you're schizophrenic. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, what the hell are you talking? Okay. And I appreciate that, but the part of this, which I find interesting, very, very interesting, is that when we hear something good that is happening, when we hear good news, something that is favorable towards Trump or disfavorable towards Kamala, Scamala, ding dong, you have to ask yourself, where are we hearing this and why? Where are we hearing this? When you hear something pro-Trump on CNN, wait a minute, hey, that means something. Whoa, wait a minute. Do you ever hear things that are positive or towards Scamala on Fox News? Never. Isn't that interesting? I find it most interesting. Isn't that interesting? I find it fascinating. So you ask yourself, why are we hearing things that are good here, but not there? Howard Schoonover says, when people say stuff that you cannot understand, there is a 50-50 chance it just makes no sense or you just don't get it. Funny you should say that. One time, and thank you, by the way, Howard, there was a wonderful professor, law professor one time. Somebody said something like that. Somebody said, that doesn't make any sense. And he said, no, you don't understand. So that's true. But it goes to show you just the basics of this. Like I've heard people, I've talked to people about geoengineering. You go, oh, I said, you don't know anything about it. How are you dismissing something? Because you're trained to think like this. You're trained to think, to be in a position where you immediately dismiss it. You immediately dismiss it. Do you hear what I'm saying? You just dismiss it. In any event. So listen to what was said on, I don't know, was this ABC or C? I don't even remember which one this was. Let me see. We will see. I think it's ABC. I don't know. Just listen.
Because some things in this race have not.
Excuse me. Face the Nation, CBS. Listen to this and ask yourself why. Thank you, Philip. And ask yourself, why is this on?
That's really important because some things in this race have not changed. The idea that you would be better off financially if Trump were elected, Trump still has a big advantage over now Kamala Harris on that. And the idea that his policies would slow or decrease the number of migrants trying to cross the border, that he still has an edge on.
Wow. Why is that? Why don't they just suppress that? Again, remember, on CBS, they are not going to be doing that. They're not going to be doing anything to suppress this. how do I say this? They're not doing anything to suppress this information that would be positive towards Carmelita. Now, listen to this one. This is, again, CNN on Dana Bash, which, by the way, she interviews the California senator, junior senator. I did not know who she was. I'm sorry. I normally know the senators, but she has the best name ever. LaFonza Butler. LaFonza. That, I love that. Listen to this one. And then we're going to break this apart a little bit because it's very significant.
The vice president praised the defund the police movement, and now she says she doesn't support.
Look at LaFonza's face. Look at that. Look at the face. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't like this.
Defunding the police. She called for decriminalizing.
Let me go back.
In the 2020 primary, the vice president praised the defund the police movement, and now she says she doesn't support defunding the police. She called for decriminalizing crossing the border illegally. Now she supports President Biden's policies for clamping down at the border. She supported Medicare for all at one point, eliminating private insurance, and her campaign says she doesn't support that now. She's reversed herself on a fracking ban. What do you think that voters should think when she's reversed herself on several issues just in the last 4 years?
I think that voters should think that she's a human being who learns new things every single day.
Oh, please.
And has the ability to take the time and effort to hear the concerns of all people.
So you were wrong? So she was wrong on that many issues? She had to be human regarding that many issues? How many issues is she also wrong about?
I think that they should be certain that she is a fighter and a leader who's going to.
What does that have to do with it? She changes drastically? Defund the police? No, fund the police. They're not criminals. Yes, they are criminals. What?
Do the work on their behalf to ensure that there is an economy that ensures that no one is left behind, that there is a climate that we're going to continue to address the.
LaFonza, hey, it's not the point. That's not the question. LaFonza, please, LaFonza, per favore, please.
Climate crisis in a way that ensures that there is an earth here for young people and for next generations of leaders. I think that they should absolutely believe that she is a leader who cares about people and who's going to put them first, as she has done her entire career.
So no concern about flip-flopping?
No concern about flip-flopping. This is our country changes every single day. The conditions of our country changes every single day.
Listen, and let me tell you something. She didn't change her. She didn't correct anything. It was her website and her people. She didn't change her mind. She still believes in that. She still believes in defund the police. She still believes that illegal aliens are not illegal. Nothing has changed. They're lying. They're lying. Philip, you're out of control. Thank you, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Shield says, what's this Judge Chunkin Trump thing about? I can't watch it. Sorry to bother you about it. I did not see. I'm sorry. I will check this. That's the DC judge. Let me see this. Trump DC court case. Let's see what this is about. Oh, a judge's election subversion case set for August the 16th. Trump interference comes back to court. Okay. See what happens. Remember, the Supreme Court basically kind of gave some broad leeway as to what constitutes immunity, but asked the judge and asked the court to specifically determine what it was that justified or that resulted in, how do I say this? What else? What's the word? What language am I? They want to see what qualifies, perhaps, and they had to go through each particular instance and then send it back. So don't worry about that now. We'll figure that out. That case is such a dog. It is not even funny. Now, have you heard about J.D. Vance? You think he uses eyeliner? Have you heard this? He uses eyeliner. It kind of looks like he does. And now, I don't know about you, but with everybody wearing wigs and mops and all kinds of things, And people, I mean, it does kind of look like he's wearing eyeliner, but it's like, okay. And by the way, attempting to be romantic with a couch that turned, you know, that story is that turned out to be bogus. But listen to what he said. This is very, very good. And again, I'm telling you, do not say she is leftist. Don't use or call her wrong, call her dumb, call her anything. Don't use words like leftist.
Our movement, they can't help but tell on themselves. They reveal how much they hate the American people.
Now, notice the background. Very good. This is in Georgia. More African Americans. More. Remind me to tell you about the story about my buddy in San Diego.
Now, remember this. Remember, Barack Obama said we cling to God and guns. Remember that? Hillary Clinton called us deplorables. And now Kamala Harris says we're weird. Well, Kamala, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about some things that are weird.
Here we go.
We think it's weird that Democrats want to put sexually explicit books in toddlers' libraries.
Yes. Use that one. Yes.
We think it's weird that the far left wants to allow biological males to beat the living crap out of women in boxing.
Yes. Yes.
We think it's weird for a presidential candidate to bail convicted rapists and murderers out of prison, and that's what Kamala Harris did.
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's especially weird when Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta. I believe came here to this arena. Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta and talks with a fake Southern accent, even though she grew up in Canada. You can't make it up. That's pretty weird.
It's not Southern. I'm not going to tell you again what kind of accent it was. It wasn't Southern.
Go watch the clip. She sounded like a Southern belle, even though she grew up in Vancouver. It doesn't make any sense. But on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent because we're going to send her packing and we're going to reelect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States.
Okay. That's nice. That's nice. All right. Okay. Now, all right. It's enough. Now, a couple of things here. Before I forget, first, I've got a request here. Our good friend, Prototype 1985 says, please, I see your show with my daughter. Hello, daughter. I tell her you were the only man in the world that fart with his hands. Do it. Well, I normally don't act like a light switch, but for you, I will. And let me see if I can get the right. That's okay. I'm sorry. I hate to lick my hand, but there we go. Now we're getting it. That's the one you want. That's the one you don't want to hear in the elevator or in a spacesuit, if you know what I'm talking about. So that's for your daughter. Thank you. Let me say this again, my friends. Please stop saying she's a leftist. Stop saying San Francisco. I don't know what the hell that means. What is this, Rush Limbaugh? This is the 80s. She's stupid. Don't call her leftist. Don't call her Marxist. No, she's wrong. Just say wrong. Because some people still say, well, I'm a leftist. There's nothing wrong with being a leftist, but there's something wrong. So just stop saying that. Now, here's a very good one. I am most impressed with this young man in Florida. What is his name? Byron Donalds from Florida. And he's born in Brooklyn originally. And Byron, absolutely, I like him more than Tim Scott. You see where Tim Scott got married? Congrats. In any event, listen to this. And he's on again with George Stephanopoulos. And this was a beautiful piece. And listen carefully. And this was very important.
Liberal senator in the United States.
Now, I'm not going to tell you again. I know you're on ABC. They don't think liberal is a bad word. That's like what, when the right calls you right, calls you right wing, you think, yeah. Don't say liberal anymore. For the love of God, liberal, left, progress. No, she's wrong. Okay? Let's go back and try it again.
She was the most liberal senator in the United States,
Right.
in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people.
Yes.
I know you guys like to glom on to this
Good.
that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris.
Now watch this. Now, you got this? Now, George Stephanopoulos is not going to take that issue head on. He's going to change the subject. And what do you think he's going to talk about? I'll give you a hint. It starts with the letter race.
That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
There we go. See that? This is perfect. Now, he's going to do that. And Byron nails it. He does this scene perfectly. Byron prepared. He knew this was coming. George thinks this is a gotcha moment. Listen to this.
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. Right. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. Yeah. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people? Or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe? Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain, and that's what matters more than anything else.
Okay. Let me tell you what I would do. See, first of all, I got to go. If I don't piss somebody off, I'm not wasting I'm just wasting my time. If I don't draw fire from him. I told you that I got my start in talk radio by being a caller. When talk radio was great, it was the best training for me. And I had 3 rules. And bear with me. The first was to be the first caller of the show. Set the tone. You're the first one. You set the tone. The guy's got 3 hours to go for a shift. You're the first one. How your call goes sets the tone. Number 2, never talk about what the host is talking about. Never. And number 3, if at all possible, insult the host family. Really tick the guy off. And I wish somebody would go after George and say, George, I knew you'd say that. Let me ask you something, George. Do you write your own stuff? Did they give you that to read? Do you really promise me, sign an affidavit, George, that you really want to talk about this? Because when I get done with you, they're going to call you into their office and say, don't you ever bring up this subject again. Let me be very, very clear to you. She is a DEI hire. Now, for some reason, you and your ilk don't say left. You and your ilk have this idea that DEI is now tantamount or synonymous with race or racist or that it's a pejorative. How can a program of yours that was meant and identified and that was planned to stop racism, how can it now all of a sudden be considered to be racist? Does this make any sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, it was Joe Biden who said, it's the first black woman, African American, or Asian or whatever it was. So she's a DEI hire. Number 2, don't you think it odd that somebody not in any way considers this as being, I don't know what the word is. Nobody considers the fact that she mentioned this over and over and over and excluded black. Do you not? Are you telling me, George? Are you telling me, with all of your experience and all of your wisdom, and you're the grand old man of ABC, you're the smartest guy in the room. Think about that one. You're telling me you think there's nothing significant about how all of a sudden you forget the Indian, now I'm black. You don't think that makes any difference? You think these things, that you who sit back and comment on how the president wears orange makeup, the way he holds water, whether he grabs a roll, whether his families were the hypocrisy. George, do you know why no one's watching this show? Because of questions like this. Are you serious? Did you hear what I just said, George? And you're just moving that out of the way and you're going at this? Come on, George. Come on. You know and I know what the truth is, and I understand what your position is, but for the love of God, at least pretend you're being fair. Pretend, and then he'll draw him into it. Make it personal. And he'll thank you at the end. Thank you, because people will have a reason for watching it, namely watching your viral account. Fishman says Kamala is an authoritarian, not a liberal, because liberals don't jail people over smoking herb. Republicans need to drill that point. She also is very anti-black because she wanted to and actually advocated the arrest of mothers whose kids were truants. Cryptodominy. Thank you, sir. Think about what we're talking about right now. It's the most incredible thing in the world. It is just so. What we need to understand here, and what I think everybody is grasping, is that things are looking so terrific. Now, remember, don't think that everything's fine. Nothing can go wrong. Don't worry about this. Nobody's saying that. I'm not saying that. You're not saying it. Nobody's saying that. What we are saying is that she's still hiding. So is Joe. Where's Joe? Who is running the country? This has nothing to do with whether you're a Democrat or anything like that. This is about who's running. The leader of our free world, theoretically, is nowhere to be found. Do you not think that odd? George, why aren't you asking questions about that? Does that not at least interest you? I know you love Joe Biden. You think he's the greatest person in the world. I know what I've heard. Hell, Nancy Pelosi wants to put him on Mount Rushmore. Did you hear that one? Did you hear Mount Rushmore? Oh, dear God. She actually said this. I am not kidding you. She actually said this. And you don't even ask the question, where's Biden? And by the way, George, your interview, your follow-up was the one that really destroyed him. That's the one that really hurt him. You know it's true, Georgie. Your interview, your follow-up after the June 27th, that destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him. Do you not take any responsibility whatsoever for that? Do you not feel at all even kidding about that? Come on. You got to give it back to these people. And you also have to have somebody tell Joe or tell George, hey, that guy was great. Have him on again. When he tore you a new one, the numbers went through the roof. Yeah, what? Yeah, when he made a fool out of you. Do that again. I don't want to do that again. Oh, you better do that again. You see, my friends, it comes down to simply this. Remember this. And I know you're worried. And I know you're, as we say in Hell's Kitchen, you're scared. You're scared. And you're scared of something which is very, very important. You are in a position right now to watch history being made. Number one, President Trump will be the second president in history to win 2 non-consecutive terms. Number two, you will see the complete and total destruction, collapse, fissure, chasm, schism, fractious dismantling of the Democratic Party. You're going to see something that is so much, it will just blow your mind. And all they're going to do is try their very best to tell you, oh no, everything's fine. I mentioned this show, and I like it a lot. And it just goes to show you that it's just very, very good. Two women, this Katie Halper, and if it wasn't for this, and Brianna Joy Reid, okay? She was the one who was fired from The Rising, The Hill, you know, anyway. And they were talking, they said, do you remember? And they were for Bernie. Now, I like Bernie Sanders. Not to vote for him, not his politics, but I like him. I like people who stick to their guns, who stick to their principles. Even though they may be wrong, I want somebody who is legitimate, who actually believes what he's saying. Bill de Blasio was a bona fide, well, he was very corrupt, but he was a bona fide lefty who really honestly believed in what he was saying. And there's something to be said for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry's Educators vlog says, hey, Cousin Vinny, I give you 3 fist pumps. Keep it up. Fight, fight, fight. Yes, sir. Cousin Vinny. Cousin Vinny or Uncle Lenny. It's funny you say that, Vinny, because I get this a lot of times, Joe Pesci. They say you sound like Joe Pesci on helium, or my favorite, Curly Howard, on Benzedrine. You see, there are people, you know, how do I say this? There is no Kamala Harris. Who has not seen the movie Being There? I think it's Jerzy Kosinski, 1970, whatever. Being There, the movie. Please tell me it was 1979. And I swear to you, I watch it and I learn like you can't believe. Is it true that Barry took over the campaign? No, Barry didn't turn over. Barry doesn't know. Obama doesn't run anything. Nothing. He is an errand merchant. He is the front line, and he supposedly says, well, okay, I'll call them up. It's absurd. It's absurd. He's running the show. Let me tell you something. Charlie made a very, very good point. But before I forget, please tell me you've seen Chauncey Gardner, 1979. No, does your dog bite? That's Clouseau. That's a Pink Panther. That was very, very good. Pete OU812 says, who's running the country? The same people that have been running it for the past 3.5 years, and it's not Biden. The deep state is running the country into the ground. Well, that's correct. I call it, you're right. Thank you for this. I call it the shadow government. But right now, theoretically, we have to understand and we have to recognize the fact that if Pyongyang fires a missile into, Seoul and some tactical nuke and all hell breaks loose, who is going to be actually running the show? Not, I know that, whatever, but still, when you have somebody who says, oh, not good, not good. Remember the piece I played for you. This guy, this was David Tambor is his name. And the other one was Steve Landisberg, who plays Dietrich. I loved him. What they were saying is as true now as it was then. He talked about immigration. He talked about a new world order. He talked about the globalism. That's exactly what's going on right now. Now, you do realize also, and listen carefully, you never tell American people this. I'm going to say this again. By the way, Being There, let me go back. You must watch this. And the reason why is, by the way, there's a couple of Kubrick. It's like coupon or coupon. It depends where you're from. There's a Stanley Kubrick reference at the end where they play Deodato playing 2001. Also Sprox Zarathustra. The when Deodato, Eomir Deodato, he was on, I think he was on CTI, Creed Taylor album. He with John Tropia on guitar. It was wonderful. It's wonderful. I like this one. Soul says, ex-Obama campaign manager joined the team. Oh, yeah, Susan Rice, whatever. So what? They're all involved. It doesn't matter. Everybody's good. Bring them on. They're going to need all the help they can get. The thing which is the most interesting is that we have somebody who's not involved, and we have somebody who's the first idiot. So anyway, going back to what we're saying. You threw about 5 things at me, so I got to figure out which of these I'm trying my best to, because you know what they say, I'm all over the place. We have right now, for the first time, a woman that they're going to say she's adult. So I would say, hey, Barry, yeah. Let me get this straight. You're running the show? Yeah. Were you the genius who picked her in the first place? That wasn't you. Oh, you weren't in charge then, but you're in charge now? Who was the genius who said, let me pick this woman who's not even running 2%, who had to drop out of the Iowa primary, that nobody liked, who couldn't keep his staff, who spewed word salad even then? Were you the genius who picked that one, or Susan Rice? Or who was the no, seriously, Barry, it's me. Who was the genius who picked her? Out of everybody out there, you mean to tell me this is the best you can do? And you don't even pick somebody who's black? Seriously. I'm sorry. I know you're an exception. Don't you think the whole thing is you don't want people to say, and the first South Asian, what? And her father's from Jamaica. Is he African American? Is she American? Well, I mean, she was born in Oakland to a Jamaican. You don't want this from the crowd, Barry. Bring somebody out. Condoleezza Rice, black woman. Susan Rice, black woman. You, black woman. At least some kind of a connection. Now, by the way, there's also this thing. And I'm sorry to say, the other day there was a fellow who writes, oh, he was capital letters. He was going crazy. Don't you understand? His parents weren't naturalized citizens. And it's like, no, he was born here. No, you don't understand. He's not an American. She's not an American citizen because her parents. And the guy went crazy. He said, excuse me, you've got it halfway right. Under the rules, under Article 2 in particular, Ted Cruz, even though he was born in Canada, one of his parents has to be a U.S. citizen, I think a U.S. citizen of at least a year of residency or something like that. Ted Cruz was eligible even though he was born in Canada. That rule applies when you're not born on American soil. When you are born on American soil, it doesn't matter who your parents are. You don't have to know who your parents are. You can be a little baby found on a step, the doorstep or whatever, of an orphanage with the umbilical cord attached, meaning, so you know it was born in the U.S. because at the time, and that baby is an American citizen. When you have these not jackpot babies, but these citizen, they have women all the time. They have motels and hotels in 8th Avenue where women would come, Chinese would come here just to give birth. So they could have citizenship. Happens all the time. So, but I would say, are you serious about this, Barry? You're taking credit for this? You're taking credit for this? You honestly, truthfully, seriously, let me get this straight. You're the one you should run. Don't even say you're involved in this. This is the worst thing ever. Barry, she doesn't say anything. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? She doesn't say anything. Does that mean anything to you? Is that in any way, are you in any way concerned over the fact that she still hasn't said anything? As she accepts this thing, she may call in somebody, she's AWOL, he's AWOL. Barry, let me say this again. What politician, you think she's going to go state to state? Is she going to read one of her things? Are you working on her speech? You are, aren't you? You're teaching her how not to laugh as much, and you're also teaching her how to stop this logorrheic word salad. You know it's true, don't you, Barry? You know it's true, Barry. Come on, come on. You know that's happening. And the thing I'm trying to tell you, dear friends, is there has never been a president or anyone who is as monumentally and as profoundly stupid as she is. And I know that may bother people. But it's the truth, my friends. It's absolutely, positively the truth. This is the most important thing in the world. You understand what I'm saying? It's the most important thing in the world. Now, what's going to happen next? This debate. Trump is saying, I want it to be Fox News. She says, no, I don't. I don't know why. I think he'd say, I'll go anywhere you want. Any condition you want. You want it to? Now, the only thing is if he has things like studio audience, remember something and listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. It doesn't matter if you win the debate. You just can't lose it. Let me say this again. It doesn't matter if you win the debate. Winning is a very strange, very concept. What does winning mean? I don't know what it means. But that's not the issue. The issue becomes very specifically, did you not lose? Joe Biden lost. Trump didn't win the debate against Biden. Biden fell apart. So what Trump has to do is to pull her into the fray. And whatever he has to do, get her mad. I told you what he has to do. I'm going to say it again in case you missed it. No matter the question, no matter the time, no matter whose turn it is, you just interrupt and say, I got one question for you, Kamala. Is Israel committing genocide right now against the Palestinians? Yes or no? And they're going to say, objection, you can answer the question. Mr. President, you know that being the president, you don't get to pick and choose the questions you want. Now answer the question. And don't give me this, community bank business and how we're untethered by the past and all this stuff. Answer the question. Because I don't know when we're going to hear you again. Because you've been ducking this since, Mister, you cannot go on. I'm not going to let you get away with this. This is fixed. You know it. I know it. And America will say, I love this guy. Would you stop? Don't even call this a debate. This isn't a debate. This is you trying to. Did you give her the questions too? Did you pull the Donna Brazil? Remember last time they gave Joe the questions? You know it's true. And I know why you want this place. Because these folks are proxies for the deep state. Okay, but answer the question. Is or is not Israel guilty of genocide? And number two, let me ask you a question. You think it's okay for a dude to beat up a woman inside a boxing ring as a woman and get a medal for it? So while we're on this subject, you think there's a difference between men and women? Willie Brown was a man, wasn't he? See, they hate that. Willie. Oh God, they can't stand that. They go nuts. They go nuts over this stuff. If you bring up the fact that how many what did you came along, didn't you? Yeah, but let me tell you something. She's no different than Pamela, the biggest botaneda of them all. Pamela Harriman, Avril Harriman's wife, Randolph Churchill's wife. She was the low price spread. Any of you folks know about the Swans? Babe Paley, Slim, CZ Guest, all this others. Do you understand this? Do you know what these women are? Charlie Calais says, suggestion, instead of an analgesic IV on a debate night, you and Lynn have a drinking game. Kami says something stupid, you drink. No, Charlie, we'd be in the emergency room. My God. And it's not even stupid if you say something you're wondering, did you? Or we should have a little card where she says sort of these, because you know she's going to say untethered by the unconnected by the past, whatever the hell that thing is called. But this is a very, very simple thing. Very, very simple. And here's the best part about it. This doesn't have anything to do with race at all. It doesn't have anything to do with race. And if President comes and said, well, it doesn't really have much to do with race because you're not black. You're as black as I am. I mean, after all, if you can say you're black, I'm Swedish. There you go. How about that? I guess that's what you think, right? I mean, men can say they're women. Women can say they're men. You can say you're gay. I'm Indian, and maybe I'm not. And maybe this week maybe that's it. Maybe you just feel, maybe you're a trans black where you're feeling. You don't believe in anything, do you? You don't believe in anything, do you? Hey, Kamala, give us some of your words of wisdom. Give us some of your classic words of wisdom. Oh, they were so doggone good. Oh my God. Please, Kamala, can you give us some quotes? Which ones were your favorites? How about this one? We must work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision. This is true. I'm reading this. And for where we should be. But also, see it as a moment to, yes, together, address the challenges and to work on the opportunities that are presented by this moment. Or this one. What else do you know about this population, 18 to 24? They're stupid. Good. That's a good one. How about this? With us in government, we campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan. Elections matter. And when folks vote, they order what they want. And in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit. I love Hanukkah because it really is about the light and bringing light where there has been darkness. And there is so much work to be done in the world to bring light. Here's a good one. This is for you, Charlie. So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong. And it goes against everything that we stand for. Or this, but we all watched the television coverage just yesterday. That's on top of everything else that we know and don't know yet, based on what we've just been able to see. And because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened. How about this? Do not come. Do not come. This is when she stood at the border. Do not. Hey, oye. Don't. Or the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. And dispute. It is time for us to do what we have been doing. And that time is every day. Every day, it is time for us to agree that there are things and tools that are available to us to slow this thing down. President Trump, if you don't destroy her, if you don't wipe the floor with her, there is no justice. Our good friend Soul76 Can says, it is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. That's right. Nigel Dawson says, if the election is dubious, what's happening in Britain now could happen in the USA. Mass riots, unrest, rebellion, large numbers of people are angry. No, Nigel, there's only one thing. And I thank you for your thoughts and your kindness. The problem, Nigel, is that in this country, we don't march, we don't riot, we don't care. We're too busy. We're too busy eating and belching and watching TV and doing our stuff. and playing video games. And we don't march. The last time there was any kind of march was the time during the George Floyd riots, peaceful gathering, where Antifa was a part of this. That was the last time that happened. Excuse me, I'm eructating. It was that and Black Lives Matter. That's it. You don't have to worry about this. Somebody said, there's going to be a civil war in this country. There's no civil war in this country. Americans don't do anything. We tweet, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't want there to be riots in this. God forbid. No. The only thing that happened was that everybody pulled back. They wanted to see what a riot would look like. They wanted to see it. Same thing with COVID. Oh my God. So my friends, remember this. Remember what we are saying, and remember these very, 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 very important times. I want you to feel good. Feel good. Did I tell you this? Do you have right now, dear friends? I hope you have. This link, I'm going to put it out. I'm going to pin this link here for you. This is the link to the newsletter. I've got a new one coming out tomorrow, and they're beauts. Oh, people get so upset when they read them. Yeah, wonderful. So please make it a point. Sign up for it. Sign up for this. Coming out tomorrow. Also, October the 26th, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I've also pinned it for you. At the Cutting Room, 10 days before the election. Dear God, I'll be there. Meeting you, talking to you, hugging you, kissing you, having my way with you in a great, great way. Whether you like it or not, because I'll lock the door and you can't leave until I'm fully satisfied. And I'm voracious when it comes to meeting people who are like-minded. Let me take this opportunity. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Linda Hazlitt says, what does Kamala have to do with the swans? Thank you very much. What I meant to do was the swans, as you know, were the days of, it was during Truman Capote, Babe Paley, and others. And they were the biggest hooahs anyone ever met. Kamala Harris couldn't hold a candle. Same thing goes for Princess Di, Jackie Kennedy. These women were bred just to hook up with some rich guy. But the best of the best was Pamela Harriman. Oh, God. So when you talk about Kamala Harris, well, she was a Willie Brown. Pilgrim, I'm not going to read that out loud, but thank you very much for the thought. Thank you for much. I appreciate that. I do not want to even utter those words. I can think them, though, but I thank you. We have a degree of decorum here. Not much, but some. So this is Willie Brown and Montel Williams. You see where Montel Williams issued a statement? How dare you? Montel, who's a nice guy, by the way. But Montel is just trying to get his name back in there. Hey, me, the president, me. That's M-O-N-T-E. Yeah, yes, Montel. I'm available. He's my headshot. My agent is. So he's just trying to get his name back into the world, as it were. But she's nothing compared to this. She's not the first woman who's ever done that. Come on. For the love of God. Remember when they made Lauren Boebert out to be some tramp? Nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing. You look at the story of the swans. Oh my God, they were bred just. And who was it? The one from Guinness. Oh, good God, Germans and it's a long story. I don't want to digress, but that's a wonderful story. And Babe Paley used to put her false teeth every day. She was married to Bill Paley. She lived at the St. Regis, I believe. She'd get up and do her hair and makeup. She'd get up at like 4 or 5 every day to look like that. All they did was they smoked. I think they did. I don't think they did cocaine, but they smoked and they drank and they didn't eat. And she was the most glamorous woman, supposedly. And CZ guessed the Guinness, she is the one who is the most fascinating. But they were, oh my God. It was in the days of New York society. It really was something. We don't have anything like that today at all. So Pilgrim, Linda Hazlitt, Nigel Dawson, Soul 76 Can, Charlie Calais, everybody. Soul, I said Soul. Pete OU 812. Larry's Educators Vlog. Thank you, sir. Crypto Domini, Fishman, Nathan Shield, Prototype, Philip Petchow, Howard Schoonover, Lori Cuck, her mind was blown. Let me see something. The Brad. Also, Dark Waters, thank you for gifting 5 Lionel Nation memberships. And Robert Dubich, thank you as well. And what a time. What a night. What a night. Are you feeling better? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling better? I think so. I think so. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. You have been nothing but splendid. Remember, Kamala Harris is going to be soundly defeated. Do not lose faith. Do not lose faith. Do not lose commitment. Do not take your eye off the ball. We are not going to let anything go wrong. And we're going to remind the Republicans in particular, you better produce this thing. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be 9 a.m. Got a little business in the morning, 9 a.m. versus 8. Always stay subscribed to Lionel Nation, and you know whenever we are live. Okay, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Happy Sunday to you. See you tomorrow, 9 a.m. And until then, remember these words, the monkey's dead, the show's over. Sue ya. That.